rolling here with some questions. And the first question is going to somebody who raises their hand, Eric Scopel, 247 Sports.
Ryan, I was just asking George this question, so I'll ask it to you, but just how different does this group feel now with a year of kind of working together? Obviously, when you guys were starting last fall, you hadn't started, none of you guys really played a whole lot of football. What's the feel right now in camp?
Yeah, it's definitely different. Last year after some drives, we come off the sideline and we were a little wide-eyed, like, oh, this is really, things are really happening, and game's a lot faster. And, I think after 7 games playing together, we know what to expect from each other, and we know what the standard needs to be, and we're trying to elevate that every day. So, and just the familiarity of playing with next to these guys, I think we're getting a lot better each and every day, and that's the goal.
Matt Preem, 247 Sports.
Yeah, Ryan, what's year 2 of Joe Morehead's offense look like, and how important is it to have a full spring that you didn't get last year and the offseason training you feel like for your development as well?
Yeah, definitely. I think Coach Morehead said it the best when we started spring ball. He said the goal this year is we're going to take the training wheels off of the offense. That was kind of what we opened up spring with, and that's really where we've taken it so far. We're trying to expand on what we did last year and grow the offense and have even more plays. And, Coach Morehead is a genius of an offensive mind. It's awesome to see what he's able to dial up all the time. So just getting to play under him it's a really good experience as a player.
Jerry Thompson, Ducks Illustrated.
Yeah, Ryan, everybody wants to get stronger, faster. So personally for yourself, have you increased in your speed, lifts or anything? And is there anybody else on the team that you really, or on the line, that have noticed a big difference?
Yeah. Like you said, obviously the goal every year is get bigger, stronger, faster, hone in on our technique, and then work better as a unit. And there are definitely some guys that have stood out. I think Logan has really stood out so far this spring. Obviously it was tough for him last year, coming off a mission where he didn't get to play football. He didn't really get to train like he would have otherwise. And then he got thrown in here and said, hey, let's play football. So I think just seeing him a year of getting his feet wet, and, now he's really taking some good steps as a player. And I think that's really going to help us as a team, having guys on the second unit that are ready to play this year.
James Carpio, we're going in.
Ryan, Coach Mirabal was talking about just the improvements that need to be made in terms of run blocking, especially from the line. For you specifically, how do you go about addressing that this offseason, starting in the spring? But what are some of those things? Because, it's on a yards per carry basis, you guys were actually even better in some instances, but obviously on a per game basis, it was down a bit, and you guys can't help that CJ got hurt.
Yeah, I think the way you address that is just every day at practice, you pick one thing and you want to improve on that every day. And then, you go to the next day, okay, what's one other thing I can improve on? And, you do that every day and you keep stacking good days together. And I think you're going to address the issues you had last season. And then, for me, one thing after watching last season's film, I don't think I did a very good job of gaining ground with my first 2 steps. My first 2 steps were kind of in place. And so this spring, I've really put a big focus on gaining ground on my first 2 steps, getting a good backside knee, and then trying to move people off the line of scrimmage.
Ryan Thorburn, Register Guard.
Ryan, I don't know if you heard George at the end there, but he said he wanted to come back for this 7th year in part to play with you and Alex and kind of finish on a high note with you guys. What's it meant to kind of grind through the program and earn everything you've earned alongside George and as well as Alex?
Yeah, it's been awesome to get to play with George and Alex. Really the whole class of 2017, we've been through a lot, maybe not as much as the class of 2016, but, we went through a lot with the coaching change and starting off 7-6, that wasn't where we wanted to be the first year. And then, we kind of the 2017 for the O-line, we had to sit behind guys that were obviously great players and are all in the NFL now. And, we're kind of getting our turn. So it means a lot to be able to grind with these guys every single day. And we're just trying to get better, elevate the standard, and keep this program elevating each and every year.
Max Torres, Ducks Digest.
Ryan, we obviously know KT is a big name that, on that defense. Who were maybe, some of the guys that you're going up against in practice that we're maybe not hearing enough about on defense that are, really putting it together?
I think Brandon Dorless. You obviously saw that in the USC game. He was an animal. He was animal all season, but in that USC game, it really stood out against a guy who's probably going to be a first-round pick. He had a great game. Popo, I think Popo is kind of someone who's not talked about enough. He missed the first couple games with contact tracing and kind of got lost in the shuffle a little bit, but I think Popo and Brandon on the inside they've really taken some good steps as players. And then Keon and Christian Williams too. All those guys, that 2019 defensive line classes, they've really taken a lot of steps, and I think they're gonna contribute a lot this season.
Eric Scopel, 247 Sports.
Ryan, you rotated a little bit last year from left guard to right guard. I know you practiced at center in the past. Are you basically at right guard all this spring? Are you moving around a little bit still, or kind of what's been that setup for you?
Yeah, I've played predominantly right guard this spring, but I have worked a little bit of center still and a little bit of left guard still. So just keeping the flexibility that I can play all three interior positions is really important.
Max?
Ryan, Mario has said that he's acting as Coach Mirabal's GA, and he's called him the best in the business. We saw him a little bit at practice when it was open this past Saturday, but what do you think makes Coach Mirabal such a special coach?
He grinds. I mean, that dude, I get texts from him at 3:30 in the morning. He's awake. I get texts from him at 10:30 at night. He's awake. I get videos of film at 4:15 in the morning. He's watching film. He just grinds, and he's got endless amounts of energy. He'll chase us up and down the field, make sure we're chasing the ball, make sure we're finishing on our defenders. And I think that's what really sets him apart. It's just like his level of energy, how much he's willing to chase us, how much he's willing to grind and push us. And then his focus on technique too. He's definitely the hardest coach I've ever had in terms of technique, fundamentals, those types of things. He really focuses on that and pair that with his energy. And he's a great offensive line coach.
James,
how much do you guys give George grief for being as old as he is?
All the time.
And what does that sound and look like if it's family friendly?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it's necessarily appropriate for the interview room, but yeah, we definitely give George a lot of grief for how old he is.
Ryan,
hey, here's something. He's older than our GA, so there's that.
Right.
Ryan, at what point last season did you feel like Anthony Brown was catching up? Obviously, he didn't have spring or fall to compete for the QB position, but was there a moment when you thought, yeah, this guy needs to also be on the field? And how is he kind of taking advantage of that opportunity now?
To be honest with you, that's something that as an offensive line, I don't think we pay attention to really. We don't know. We don't really know what the quarterback's reads are on any given play. We don't know what his progression is in passing situations. So we can't really look at a quarterback competition and say, okay, we think this guy should be playing, we just get lost in doing our job and focusing on our technique and fundamentals. But I think this spring AB's done a really good job. I think he's got the respect of the locker room and he's got a good command of the offense. As you guys saw on Saturday, he's doing a lot of really good things, and throughout spring and then into fall camp, we're just going to continue to grow as an offense.
James,
what are your impressions of Ope as well? Because I know he's working at right guard. Just what have you seen from him? I know he's a young guy working in that position.
Yeah. What I would say about Ope and Logan, man, is they just want to learn. They both sit next to me in meetings and they're both willing to ask me questions all the time. Hey, if we got this look up front, what would you do if we have this play? I'll tell them, whatever I got. And I think that's the biggest thing as a young guy, man. You just got to ask questions. You got to learn, because once you pick up the offense, you can play fast. And once you can play fast, then you can be physical. You can start honing in on your technique and fundamentals. And so I think that's a big thing with Logan and Ope is they're really trying to learn the offense, and that's really good for them.
It looks like that's all we have for you, Ryan. Appreciate the time.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.